President Bola Tinubu on Sunday assured his administration is determined to change the narrative about a weak and crawling economy by bringing about transformation to governance. Thus, the idea of unifying the Forex window is one of the cardinal economic trusts of Bola Tinubu administration. Hence, since the Central Bank of Nigeria produced the Forex window unification, the Naira commenced its steady fall, selling at almost 1,200 Naira to a dollar from 800 when the administration came in. While the CBN points to the interplay of the market forces as a reason for steady fall, Omotola, an investment banker, business developer, and economist, puts the blame squarely on currency speculators. However, Nigeria's annual inflation continues to trend by climbing to 27.3% in October, the highest since August 2005, up from 26.7% in the prior month. Price of food, which is the most relevant in the CPI basket, picked up at 31.5% in October, the highest since August 2005, from 30.6%. The annual core inflation rate, which excludes farm produce, rose further to a record 22.7% in October, accelerating from September's reading of 22.1%. On a monthly basis, consumer prices rose by 1.7% in October, following a 2.1% surge in the prior month. Joining us now is Omotola, an investment banker, business developer, and alumnus of Harvard University, USA. Lai, great to have you. But Lai, I'd like to challenge your point this morning by saying, if you say it's speculators causing this, then probably we are not telling the full truth, because the reason why speculators can have a run on the market is because of the weakness of our monetary policy and the fact that we don't have enough to be able to stabilize our currency. Why heap the blame on speculators alone?
Okay, thank you for having me this morning. And I like the way you're starting. You see, when you say that you want to float the Naira, it's on the basis of the fact that you want to have a single market. So what was happening before the floating of the Naira was that it was a tag team fight where you have two people in the ring and on the other side also two people. Now, when you now say you're floating the Naira, you now back up one person and you leave only one person in the ring, and then the opposition still have two persons. What do I mean by this? During the Emefiele's time, he kept on saying, I want to defend the Naira. So he was inside the ring with the Naira. The Naira and CBN was inside the ring, facing who? The official market and the black market. Remember. Now, what has happened in this regime is that they've removed the CBN and you now have only Naira.
Not totally.
They've removed the CBN considerately.
Not yet.
Yes.
Totally.
So you now have only the Naira in the ring facing the official market and what they call the parallel market. Now, this is not going to work, because when you say that you want to have what they called market forces to determine, anytime you want to have market forces to determine anything, there must be a single market. It must be a single market. There is no way in the world where you have two markets. Now, what is propelling this rise in FX is because there's what they call the parallel market, and it's not really a parallel market, it's a black market. It's an illegal market where when people can't get enough from the official market, they go to the black market. Now, as long as that black market creates that difference of 300 Naira, which has been created by these same speculators, which you call speculators. I don't call them speculators. I call them the market cabals, because they created that difference of 300. And once that difference of 300 is there, I mean, let me ask you this question. When you come back from USA and you have some dollars in your wallet and you want to change, and you get down from your plane and you hit the airport and you see two offers, and the BDC guy says he's changing your money at 800. The guy on the street, the Abuki on the street says, I will change it for 1.2. Which one are you going to take? You will take the one of 1.2. But by you taking that one of 1.2, you're also contributing to the problem of the Naira. So the truth of the matter here.
So I also challenge you on that point.
Yeah, you see, the truth of the matter here is that now CBN is not supplying dollar into the economy. Some people have this dollar with them. And what happens, looking at the theory of demand and supply, is that, okay, we are going to, on a daily basis, the economy needs $100 million. So they will put $50 million into the official market system. And because of whenever you have so much demand chasing short supply, it creates an increase. So by so doing, there is now the black market that you also can now go, if you are not able to get from the official market, to go to the black market. No developed nation runs a black market system.
The challenge here is the weakness has always been because of the weakness of the official market. What this government said they were trying to do was a convergence so that the arbitrage rate is lower. But when we had some level of stability in the same market, the official market and the black market rate was almost the same. So when you make the argument that, oh, you will go to the black market, yes, but the truth is, at a point where the official rate and the black market rate is almost the same, you will still go to the official market. So it's still the weakness of this side. You also talked about the fact that the CBN is intervening, partially. Yeah, they don't have a lot more money to put in the market. That's the problem on ground. But also, the speculators are having a free run because of the weakness of our economy, of our systems. I'll give you stats to back it up. Dollar inflow into Nigeria about 4 years ago, if you read the medium-term expenditure framework, was about 115 billion. Today it's 74 billion. So we are not even having a lot more dollar in the system. The CBN, for instance, when they keep saying, oh, you can sell into the market, an oil company tried selling in the market. The CBN said, no, sell to me so that I can use to hold my positions. So if you blame the speculator, why are we not talking about the way our CBN has poorly run the system all this while, which is a bigger problem?
So let me tell you something about every developed nation. An economy cannot grow further than the business operated in the country. What are the business? The top businesses operated in the country. It is how the business people do their business that they return taxes back to government, and that makes the economy stable. Now, today, we have people that have this dollar in their hands for unproductive means. When you say speculators, the real value of Naira should be people that are interested in the foreign exchange for productive means, not for speculative means. Now, the value of Naira would average based on everybody trying to get the dollar. But when you do a census, you look at it that why are people chasing this dollar? You will see that close to 60% of it, of the people chasing it, is for speculative reasons, which doesn't happen in any developed economy. Do you understand? So what are we coming back to? Economy. We are a developing economy. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. And we must not allow our economy to be gateless. This economy is gateless, where speculators just see it as a means of doing business. How can someone say he's a businessman and all he does is just to speculate on his own country's currency? This is absurd. Now, what we're saying here is that a businessman cannot continue exchanging Naira for dollar and say that that is his business operation. Speculation must stop on the Naira. And I agree that it becomes the responsibility of the CBN to stop people from speculating on Naira. Because you see, when you remove that speculation, the actual value of Naira will show itself, and it's not that 1,200.
But it is not the 700 or even 600 that the CBN would want to say it should be around. Now, let me take you up on something. Rufai, my dear colleague here, mentioned the fact that the weakness or the poverty of ideas in managing our monetary policy is part of the problem. And definitely a lot of economists will say that is correct. But I also look at it from the fiscal policy side of things. In terms of the management of our fiscal policy, I will take it down, cut to the brass tacks. Let's cut to the chase. In terms of the economy today, let's take it down to the lowest level of a man who is a farmer in a village in Abeokuta or in Ijebu-Ode or in Ota. This man is producing 1,000 eggs a day or 2,000 eggs a day. And his interest is to just make this a profitable business. But we're not manufacturing equipment for the feed. We're not manufacturing the materials that we need. Most of the drugs that you need for your birds are coming from abroad. And that means they're looking for money. And definitely, they're not going to go to speculators to access the dollars for procuring all of these things. So on a weekly basis, the price of the feed for the birds is increasing because of lack of access to that dollar that they need for importing of these things. So do we blame the speculator for the needs of the common man as lower in the rung or in the ladder like the farmer? Or do we say that there's a serious problem of fiscal policy that backs these people up and make it possible for them to have the access? What's your thought? It's not even monetary policy now or speculator. It's down to fiscal policy. What's your thought?
In fact, I like the angle that you brought us in. You see, not to even waste your time. Exactly what you've said was what CBN under Emefiele identified. And what did they do? They brought in intervention funds to address everything you have said. The same business owners collected these intervention funds and did not do everything you have said. The whole essence of the 3 trillion intervention fund was to solve our entire agric problem. Do you understand? But when these guys collect this money, they divert it to other things.
I have family members who are farmers. They did not get a dime.
I'm
from
saying
the 3
business,
billion.
you see, when you talk about feeds, when you talk about machineries, they were given to business owners so that they can take tractors to these farmers.
Business owners, portfolio, people who carry
That's what
portfolio
you see.
to
That's what we're
Abuja
saying. That's what we're saying, that the economy is gateless. These are portfolio people. And let me even shock you. Before you can even get the intervention funds, the regulators through the back door will ask for 30%. Do you get? And once the business owner gives that 30%, you can assume that the business is dead. You see, one thing you must understand is that the top people doing businesses in Nigeria must go back to business school. The way they do the business, the major problem we have in Nigeria is that tons of money are in the hands of unproductive people, which you call portfolio investors. Very unproductive people. All the dollars we need to solve all our problems are lying down somewhere, sealed and hidden somewhere. And as long as we continue to have that, we are not going to make progress as a nation, because these people having this money are unproductive with it. They are just getting the money to stock it, not to make it as a cash flow. So this is the challenge we have as a nation. It is beyond government regulation. It is the mindset of our major business owners, how they think, their behavioral pattern. Every subvention that government brings up, every regulation that government would bring up, they are always thinking of how to pervert it, how to shortchange it. And that's what has brought us to this. Because, you see, if American history is written anytime they want to write it, they will say the men that made America, the men that built America. These men are not pastors, they are not politicians, they are business people. And all of them are dead today, and yet the businesses still continue to run. In Nigeria, hardly can you say a business that will run for 20 years. Hardly can you say a business that will be transgenerational. Hardly can you say a business that is global. The only global business we have in Nigeria is within Christian Church of God and Winners Chapel in 197 nations. Hardly can you see an indigenous business owner in Nigeria going global, because you see, the rubbish they do in this country, they can't even try it in Cotonou.
You remember that many years ago, not too many years ago actually, the former CBN governor, Lamido Sanusi, Lamido, he said that there are too many rent seekers in Nigeria that carry portfolio to Abuja, and these people collect all the money from government, from CBN, from every agency of government, and it does not seep down to the lower rung. Are these people you call speculators?
They're not
because
the
if they are not the speculators,
they're the market cabals.
Yeah, so the market cabals, shouldn't they be the ones that we are saying the government has got to work against to drive the economy to a point where, if they say that we are sharing money to help farmers, that money gets to farmer in Ota, that money gets to farmer in Kaura Namoda, that money gets to a farmer who is suffering with insecurity in Chibok, and not with somebody who carries that portfolio and doesn't let it seep down.
Yes, the government must have a political will to confront the market cabals, which is what I call the economic war that the government needs to declare. Because you see, for you to understand the way the economic cabals operate, you must be at the cutting edge of your profession, because it's intertwined. You will see someone set up a manufacturing company. You would think it's that manufacturing company that is actually making the figures. But the truth of the matter is that when you critically look at that balance sheet, what is driving the profit is not the product that is selling. These are the issues.
So is this not a reflection? Like, that's why I say I challenge that notion that you said it was a speculator. Is this not a reflection of the weakness of government? Because what you've just said is, you've just agreed, and it's a reflection of the weakness of government. That's why speculators come in the first place. And another point I'm going to give you this. We keep talking about speculators and all of that. Do you know how much dollars was used in the last election primaries? Should we even have elections that had denominated in dollars in this country in the first place? Prior to the election primaries, dollar was hovering around the early 600 percentile. Do you know that the jump to over 700 was after that primaries? So this is not even about people holding dollars for speculation to be able to exchange now. This is for political reasons in the first place, and you wonder what is going on. I think one other point you should also add to your argument is the over-dollarization, the needless dollarization of our economy in the first place, which is not even the speculators now, which is also a dependence on the weakness of our system. What do you say about this?
You see, let me be very clear with you with what is happening. In every nation, business people are always in charge of every nation. The business people even decide who becomes the president. They even decide who becomes the governor. You know how it works in America. The business people will look at their business interest and say, look, this is the best man suited for our business interest. In fact, even individuals and corporations even have more reserve than states.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you understand? They even have more reserve than states.
That's where Berkshire has over 150 billion cash.
Thank you.
US dollar
More than
cash
state. There's nothing wrong in that. But the opposite is what we have in Nigeria. The people holding our resources, they are holding it for unproductive use. If you look at it in the Bible, the reason why God got angry with that other guy that was unproductive, that was not profitable, the parable of the talent, was that he just took the money and went to hide it. The reason why God was angry was that the money was not producing any returns.
But that's the weakness of the government.
No! Look, what do you think is more dangerous, a businessman or a politician? A politician is just a pawn to a businessman. You don't understand it. No, there are people that are in charge of this economy. So they're not up to 10. So they're in charge of the economy. They decide everybody. They have access to the president.
So that's the weakness of the government. You know, I'll prove it to you. Recently in China, you saw what happened. with government clamping down on these big businesses.
Yes.
Even it happened in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
You know, with these people, members of the royal family that were rent seekers to put them in a hotel.
Yeah.
So that's a reflection of the weakness. You say all of this happened was because bodies like the CBN could not tell the guy the money they were giving out. So it still comes back to the weakness, because when you blame the speculators, like the government has no blame of its own, it still comes back to the weakness. The reason why they can do all of this shenanigan is because we have a weak center. And to buttress my point, Fitch released a report recently, and they talked about also the weakness of government and the sources of policies.
Let me tell you something happening in America today about gun controls. Gun control. America can see people using gun to kill people. And the president is saying that, look, we must modify our amendment for gun control. Who are the people working against it? The NRA.
Yeah.
These are top business people.
Yeah.
Do you understand? They can see people being killed, children. But you see, the NRA is so powerful. Do you understand? You see, each time you talk about politicians are just pawns in the hands of business people. Do you get? Look.
By choice.
You see, the truth of the matter is that the person that owns the money is the king. Is the king. He owns a number. There are people. Look, Nigeria now have trillionaires, people richer than the states. But the difference is that their money is not in the bank. Their money is hidden in the grave somewhere. You see, buried all over the nation where nobody can see them, and then they cannot use it for productive means. So
you're saying they should bring up all the money.
So the government must set a bait.
Do you think the Naira design was a good bait?
No. That was just political.
No, but the Naira, the Naira design brought out some of those money.
It didn't achieve any purpose.
It didn't achieve anything, but it brought out some of those money. So that's why it is this argument going back to where we're starting from.
No.
That it is the weakness of the government. There's no part to
In fact,
it.
you say government has its own portion, right? But very minute. But let me tell you something. I give you an example. In 2012.
So do you think these people will just have a change of heart and they will change? You think by listening to you they'll change?
You see, let me tell you something. It's called business education. And I'll give you an example. In 2012, a gentleman walked into our office when we were doing diesel and said, look, he needs the name of a company just to do some transaction in PPRA. What was the transaction? He will submit the name of a company to him, and then he will go and cut custom papers to say, we have brought in vessel. PPRA will give us 1 billion. He takes 600 million. We take 400 million. I looked at the deal and I said, no, I'm not doing. He went to my friend. My friend did that business.
And he became rich.
He became very rich. He became a billionaire.
He
bought a yacht.
Is that a reflection of the weakness of the government?
I've not finished the story.
Yeah.
Do you understand? He bought yachts. We went to commission the yacht. He was hosting parties. And then all of a sudden, there was this announcement, oil subsidy scandal, that government should begin to move. They started the investigation. He was caught in the trap. EFCC moved in, collected all his property. Today, his wife has left him. His family has left him. He's dead broke today. Do you understand? So he made a bad business decision.
Was that a weakness of the government?
No, look. The way we do business in this country.
How could he cut corners in the first place?
Look, Rufai, you see, you must first understand something. That governments, right from 1960, have been doing intervention to get money to the poor. They started the People's Bank. They started the Microfinance Bank. They started all these things. For the past 24 years of our democracy, people are supposed to see dividend of democracy. But what has happened is that individuals have been the one packing all the money for the past 24 years, and they have become richer than the state. You must now begin to ask your rich people.
So who is supposed to address that? Is it not the government?
Who is supposed to address what?
That problem.
The government can never address everything. Look, you as a business leader, you
should have a change of heart, right? Should be a saint.
No, not a saint.
Care more for the people.
No, you see, not a saint. When you go to business school, in those days when you first go to business school, Harvard University will be emphasizing on maximizing shareholders' investment. Do you understand? Yes. But later on they changed it, realizing that that's a mistake. You know what maximizing shareholders' investment brought them? Everybody was looking for money anyhow, and to just make sure that I'm making money. And that led to financial crisis.
We have to go. Your
Yes.
final message is that business owners should have a change of heart, bring all the money out, be patriotic, shun all of this that is going on. Thank you so much. We need to go.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your contribution. This conversation will definitely continue. We're most grateful.